Hello, Night Wanderers, and welcome to Hollow District Files. Tonight's episode is something truly special. This is more than just a horror stories. It's an experience designed to slowly guide you into the world of dreams, where the line between reality and nightmare begins to fade. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments where you're listening from tonight. I always love seeing how far these stories travel, and connecting with listeners from all around the world. Now, dim the lights, get comfortable, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let us drift together into the unknown. This is where tonight's stories begins. I've been fascinated by ghost stories ever since I was a child. By the time I was in 7th grade, I had become obsessed with things like Ouija boards, seances, and anything connected to the paranormal. I had no idea that my curiosity would end up haunting me for years. After my final exams in 8th grade, one of my friends lent me a book filled with stories about supernatural and mysterious events. A few days after the results came out, I visited his house. There were 4 of us, along with his cousin, my younger brother, another friend's little sister, and a few other kids. In total, there were around 10 or 12 of us. As we shared ghost stories, someone suggested we try a seance just for fun. We copied what we had seen in movies and read in books. We lit a candle, wrote yes and no on a piece of paper, placed a coin in the middle, and held hands while trying to summon a spirit. We were only 13 or 14 years old. The house was quiet, and although other family members were home, no one was in the rooms near us. Just as everyone started taking it seriously, my little brother and my friend's younger sister became terrified and burst into tears. Hearing them cry, our mothers rushed in, scolded us for playing with such things, and made us stop immediately. We had dinner, went home, and everyone forgot about it. Everyone except me. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had to know whether it was real. A few days later, when my parents were away at a family gathering, I decided to try it alone. Our apartment had 2 bedrooms, 2 balconies, and a large combined living and dining area. My bedroom had an attached bathroom just outside the room. Since my parents were out, my younger brother was sleeping in my room that night. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, lit a candle, and tried to summon a spirit. I spent nearly 40 minutes doing everything I knew. Nothing happened. It was the middle of winter, yet inside that bathroom I felt unbearably hot. It made no sense, but eventually I gave up and came out. By then my parents had returned home. A few days later, everything changed. One night I was sleeping alone. There were 2 windows in my room, one beside my head and another facing the balcony, covered by a curtain. That night, I had accidentally slept with my head facing the bedroom door instead of the window. A dim blue nightlight illuminated the room. Suddenly, I woke up to a strange sound. The first thing I saw was the curtain by the balcony. Behind it was the shadow of a woman. I couldn't see her clearly, only her silhouette, but I could hear the unmistakable sound of jewelry clinking together, like someone wearing dozens of bangles and rings. She appeared to be dressed in a long flowing outfit with a veil covering her head. I could tell because I watched the fabric gently move, as if caught by an invisible breeze. Then I noticed something else. A horrible burnt smell had filled my room. I was too terrified to move. I didn't dare turn my head for the rest of the night. The next morning, I convinced myself it had only been a nightmare. But from that night onward, something happened almost every single night. Sometimes I saw the shadow walking around my room. Sometimes I heard scratching sounds on my bedroom door, as if someone was dragging their fingernails across it. Sometimes I felt someone gently stroking my hair while I slept. My father often traveled for work, and my mother couldn't have done it. I knew her touch.
But whenever this happened, I could feel rings or bangles brushing against my head. My mother never wore jewelry. As time passed, I began sensing a constant presence around me. Whenever someone stayed in my room overnight, they refused to sleep there again. Even if they didn't see anything, they always said they felt like someone else was in the room. Then I started waking up with long scratches all over my body. Whenever water touched those marks while I showered, my skin burned intensely. I told my mother, but she dismissed it, saying I must have scratched myself in my sleep. Then, one afternoon, something happened that I could never explain. I had just returned from coaching classes and was leaving the bathroom. Across from the bathroom was our dining table, and opposite that stood a large glass display cabinet. As I stepped out, I froze. Someone was sitting at the dining table, eating. At first, I thought it looked familiar. Then I realized it was me. The same hairstyle, the same clothes, the exact same shirt I was wearing. No one else was home. Terrified, I rushed back into the bathroom and stayed there until my family returned. Another day, while eating at that same table, I noticed my reflection in the glass cabinet. The reflection smiled at me. I wasn't smiling. By then, I was completely terrified. I told my mother everything again, but she still didn't believe me. Around that time, our relationship had become strained, and we argued almost every day.
Whenever I cried, I hid inside the bathroom because I never liked crying in front of anyone. One day, while crying silently, I prayed to God and wondered who this woman was and why she wouldn't leave me alone. Then, I felt a hand on my shoulder. A woman's whisper echoed directly beside my ear. Sayantika. I don't know why, but I felt as though that was her name. After that moment, I became quiet. I realized I had made a terrible mistake. This could no longer be explained as imagination. The experiences continued. Strangely, I eventually stopped being afraid. It even began to feel as though the woman was protecting me from certain things. At the same time, I felt like I was slowly losing the ability to think clearly for myself. Then came the incident that finally convinced everyone. My aunt came to stay with us while preparing for her university entrance exams. She studied late into the night while I slept early because I had school. One night, after finishing her studies, she turned off the lights and lay down beside me. A while later, she woke up. She saw the shadow of a woman standing in the room. At first, she assumed it was my mother checking on us. She closed her eyes again. Then she heard the unmistakable sound of jewelry clinking together. She immediately realized my mother never made that sound. Then she heard fingernails scraping violently across the bedroom door. Terrified, she stayed frozen. A moment later, she saw the shadow walking through the living room, circling the dining table. Finally, she turned to the other side. There was a chair beside the bed. She saw me sitting there, staring directly at her. She screamed. Then she turned back, only to find me asleep beside her. When she looked at the chair again, it was empty. The next morning, she told my mother everything. For the first time, my mother believed me. After that, she brought me a protective amulet. Soon afterwards, I became seriously ill. As soon as I recovered, we moved out of that apartment. Later, we learned something chilling. The entire area where our apartment had been built was once a mass burial site dating back to 1971, where countless women were reportedly killed during the war and buried. People said no family could stay in that apartment for very long. We had actually lived there longer than anyone else. Even after we left, several new tenants moved in. None of them stayed for long. After moving away, the strange experiences gradually stopped. Or maybe she never really left. I don't know. Looking back, I believe those spirits had always been there, and I was the one who invited them into my life. I'm a devoted follower of Lord Shiva, and I truly believe his protection saved me. After everything that happened, whether people believe in the paranormal or not, I never joked about these things again. Today, I spend time studying Tantra and the Dashamahavidya traditions purely out of spiritual interest. But after what happened in 8th grade, I never tried to contact the unknown again. That was my story. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and tell me honestly, would you have stayed in that house? If you love your parents, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below.